This is a lie. I haven't put these away. We have a bunch of crap on our kitchen table. We have chickens behind this cloth in our kitchen. We have dishes that we haven't put away yet. We switched to this water filter. So this one's been sitting here for like a week and it hasn't sold yet. I have 4 separate bags of coffee. I've just been eating these brownies like an animal. There's this problem with minimalism, I think like on YouTube and Instagram and I'm sure everywhere else. And it's this idea that your house is like perfect all the time, because before I sit down and I shoot a video that tens of thousands or hundreds of thousands of people are going to see, I clean up my house first. And yes, I can generally clean up in just a few minutes, but we have a toddler and it gets trashed, and you know, we leave stuff on the counter during the day and then we clean it up at night, but during the day it doesn't always look great. And I think it's important for you guys to see the other side of these people who talk about minimalism, including myself, that our houses are not always perfect. Does that mean that like we're out here lying to you? No, like I do all the habits that I talk about. Our house is generally pretty clean, but it's not perfect. So I think we fall into this trap. It's like this comparison trap, and I feel this myself of like, you see these other creators who can count all their possessions, who fit everything into a backpack. You see these thumbnails where 90% gone, I got rid of everything, I'm starting over, I'm doing this huge thing, and like, that's great for some people, but for most of us, that's not real life. Sometimes there are definitely people who get rid of 90% of their stuff, and it could be true. But for most people, at least for myself, it's been a gradual process over the past like 4 or 5 years of minimalism, of getting rid of stuff, and then your house is a wreck while you're going through, you know, all of your clothes. There was times where like we had a room just like filled like 6 inches deep when Meredith started decluttering for the first time. And that's what minimalism looks like for a lot of the process. At the end of the process, it does look a lot better, but for most people, it's never gonna look perfect. And even if you do get it to look perfect when it's perfectly clean, if you actually live in your house, and especially if you have kids, it's not gonna look perfect. You can, you know, reset every night and make it look and feel as clean and stress-free as possible, but it's not gonna be like that 24/7. There's also this problem, which I'm gonna call like the appearance trap. And that's when you get this identity of like, you're a minimalist, and you talk about it with your friends, and now all your friends, you know, call you a minimalist, and then you start making that part of your personality, you know? Everything you make, you gotta be like, well, does this fit with my minimalist wardrobe? Does this, you know, match my identity? Does it match my color scheme? Can I, you know, bring this in? Are my friends gonna make fun of me? And it becomes like a lot of who you are, instead of just a tool to help you live your life better. It becomes like who you are. It's like a religion. That's one of the main things I don't like about using the term minimalism, is like when I wear like a colored shirt occasionally for like Easter, some people will be like, oh, that's not very minimalist of you. Or, you know, you see toys around like, oh, that's not very minimalist of you. It's like, no, it's not a religion. Like, I make these boundaries to make my life easier. Sometimes I don't follow them exactly. There's no like actual reason to have ripped jeans. I just think they're comfortable and they look cool. You probably think I look like an idiot. I don't care. This is what's right for me. Even wearing black all the time, it's become this identity that people, you know, attribute to me. And I found myself falling into this trap of being like, oh, I'm gonna film a video. If I wear a different colored shirt, I'm gonna get a bunch of comments being like,
Mary, here is your reminder.
Things aren't always perfect. I found myself doing this as well, where I have literally made some decisions that would match this idea of minimalism rather than what is best for my life. And I don't think that is something that this should all be about.
I also think there's this idea of like taking things a little bit too extreme and having like no buy years, and like buying stuff is wrong, and I don't like to buy stuff that I don't need. But if there is stuff that like literally makes my life easier, makes me happier, makes me healthier, just improves my life in some way, I don't see any problem with buying things that make my life better. For instance, I used to use the toothbrush like this, and that was totally fine. And then I switched to a toothbrush like this, and you know, that was fine. Recently, I switched to what is by far the best toothbrush I have ever used, and you know what? Turns out better things are actually better. That's also why I partnered with Lifein to sponsor this video, because this is by far the best toothbrush I've ever used, and it's a lot cheaper than the ones I used to use as well, which is interesting.
Why this one is like so much better. First of all, there's no like giant holes, so you can just put this underwater. It's waterproof, cleans really easy. It's been over a month. I haven't had to charge it, but also it oscillates like 60 degrees, which is actually ideal for brushing, according to like doctors and stuff. But it pretty much means that I literally feel like my mouth is cleaner because it goes like up and down or side to side or whatever. It even has an app where you can control how intense it is, how fast it goes. You can really customize this to make it the best for you, which wasn't something any of the other ones I've had do. You either need to do it manually, which is just not going to be as good, or it just has one setting and that's the only setting that it has. So another thing I love about this is these heads right here.
pop off. They have 3 different heads that you can put on. It's got the gum care one, super clean, and ultra whitening. And by like looking at the competition, I would expect this to be like 300 bucks. And it's like 70 bucks. And even the heads to replace them are like 10 bucks to get a new set of 3 heads. Instead of like $40 for other ones that I've used. This is just a much better product for a much cheaper price. And I know personally, I've got myself on this. Meredith started using this now. I'm honestly a really big fan. So, you know, if you've got like Father's Day coming up, or you and your family needs to like up how they're taking care of their teeth, this is a way to do it without breaking the bank and knowing you're getting something really high quality. So honestly, check these out. There's a link down below. You will not regret it, and you could still be a minimalist and have a nice, clean, sleek toothbrush. It's okay.
Feeling behind and like guilt. I know a lot of people, especially when they're starting, you have this guilt of getting rid of stuff. You have a guilt when you buy something new. You have guilt when your house doesn't look perfect, but you're making a video about minimalism, and you don't want to be fake, but also you live in your house and so does the rest of your family. We have this guilt around something that is supposed to just be like a set of rules that makes our lives a little bit easier. And I think a lot of that comes from, you know, seeing other people and social media people like me who hopefully have a ton of great stuff, but they also generally plan out things before they turn the camera on. On Instagram, you plan everything. This is a business. Most people don't just flip on their camera when their kid's running around screaming, because that would be impossible to watch. And yet when you get behind on laundry, when your kids are acting up, when you make an impulse buy, when you don't follow your new habit, you have this guilt and this feeling that you're behind, that you'll never get your house to where you want it to be, that you'll never, you know, get to this spot where you want to be. But a lot of minimalism isn't getting somewhere. It's a journey. It's not really something you ever land at. There's always little ways you can improve your life. And I think if you ever did get to that spot where everything was perfect, it would just shine a light on like other problems that you have. So if you are trying to go down this minimalist journey, you're anywhere along the path and you don't feel like you're there yet, you feel like an imposter, you feel behind, you feel stressed out and annoyed and your identity's caught up in this, that's not what this is all about. You don't have to do extreme stuff. You don't have to do slow stuff. You can do, you know, whatever works for you. And there's lots of different methods, there's lots of different ways, but in the end, hopefully just a tool to improve your life a little bit. By the way, if you've seen a couple of my videos and you haven't subscribed before, now's a great time. It's free and I won't clutter up your inbox. You just click the button. But that being said, it won't fix your problems. We all think that reaching financial independence will cure all your problems. Once you meet that special someone, that'll cure all your problems. Once you get that next promotion, once you get in shape, once you become a minimalist, once you lose that weight, all of your problems will be solved. This is just so not true. All those things can definitely make your life better, but there's always going to be stuff that comes up. There's going to be new problems that arise. When you fix one spot, you know, another 2 pop up. Minimalism is a great tool, but it's not a cure-all. One other thing I wanted to talk about was the money aspect of minimalism and the fact that it kind of is like a privilege that not everybody can do. As a generally pretty frugal person, this idea of less but better, of the 20-20-20 rule, of all of these, of even like wearing, you know, nicer clothing, it's a privilege to be able to do that. There's a lot of people in the world and even in the US who can't afford to do something less but better. Like, especially at the beginning of my journey, everything that I owned was from a thrift store. Until like last year, I had never bought a new piece of furniture. And while minimalism isn't, you know, about having really nice things all the time, there is that aspect that is commonly talked about by a lot of people, even myself sometimes, of investing into higher quality things. But that's just something that not everybody can do. Like, I've talked about having nicer shirts before, and I recently got some from this company called Weston Jean Boucher. They're more expensive shirts. Probably 5 years ago, I never would have actually invested money into a quality shirt, but at this stage of my life, I will invest more into having things that actually fit me. And I do realize that that is a privilege. And myself, when I was at the beginning stages of financial independence, in my extreme frugal living stage, I never would have done that. But now I'm at a place of privilege where I can actually invest into things that are more comfortable and actually, you know, fit me. By the way, everybody's been asking where I got this shirt. So I'll leave a link below if you want to check that out. There's a discount code. But if you enjoyed this video, then you will love this video right here. At least YouTube thinks that you will like it. So watch it. It's free. I'm gonna go.